In today's episode, we're going to be going through 10 different years from 2010 to 2020 and deciding what is the best song from each of those years. We did it the first time with albums, so I feel like it's fitting to do this a second time with songs. And guys, if you're new to NFR Podcast, smash the subscribe button. But Lou, let's get into 2010. What are your honorable mentions?
Honorable mentions, a lot of Wu-Tang material, okay? So on an album like Apollo Kids, I was looking at Purified Thoughts. I was even looking at Together Baby. Just two soul sample based bangers. Then even looking at the Wu Massacre album, there was Meth versus Chef 2, which has amazing back and forth between the two of them. Also looking at BMF by Rick Ross, bro.
That's a big one as well.
That's
for 2010.
Big dope boy anthem that feels just larger than life. What else do you have though?
For myself, I have Nikes on My Feet by Mac Miller. That was something that I had in contention. The Statement by Wiz Khalifa. So I went back into like the old mixtape catalogs and I was trying to see if I could pluck out anything. Mr. Rager by Kid Cudi. I'm not sure if it's really considered hip hop like that, but still, there's rapping from Kid Cudi, so I had it there. And then my other honorable mention is Runaway by Kanye West.
But I think it's obvious we're choosing something from My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, right?
I'm there, absolutely. And my song for 2010 is going to be Devil in a New Dress by Kanye West featuring
Song
Rick
of
Ross.
the Year, Devil in a New Dress by Kanye and Rick Ross. And Rick Ross had a fucking year in 2010, bro. He had Teflon Don come out. He had this amazing career-defining verse on this song, and I absolutely love it. It feels when you're listening to it that you're just driving in this Rolls Royce, entering like this fantasy land. There's cigar smoke in the air, beautiful women all around you, all these distractions.
Would you say it's the best luxury rap song of all time?
Absolutely, it's really
of
up
all
there.
time, though. But think about it.
I don't know about all time. I think
you can place it in an all time
for our
list.
generation, like it's pure opulence, and I love the fact that like it's kind of like skeevy in the sense that it's Kanye trying to convince a girl to say fuck it and let loose and
absolutely
do her thing, But I love the religious imagery, and of course, the Mike Dean guitar solo is the glue to that song for me. Even Bink's work on the production too.
Oh, absolutely.
Phenomenal.
Bink and Mike Dean are probably the biggest like players in this song for me, at least in my opinion, because
so production over performances here.
Oh, just too good.
Yeah, I agree.
It's way too good. Even that, like, you have an iconic Rick Ross feature and you have this incredible Kanye West performance, probably top tier on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, in my opinion. And yet the production still rings harder for me. I'm not going to lie to you. I think it's one of the best produced rap songs of all time. I could say that any decade. I think if you put it into that type of conversation, it could be had. So yeah, I had it as my 2010s pick, but let's go on to 2011. This was a massive year. This was extremely hard for myself. My honorable mentions, Rise and Shine by J. Cole off of the Sideline Story. That was something I was considering. One of the best anthemic and sort of hype up songs of the 2010s decade, in my opinion, and in J. Cole's career. Rigor Mortis by Kendrick off of Section 80. That was something else I was considering. 6 Foot 7 Foot by Lil Wayne off of the Carter 4. Masterful rapping, iconic moment for rap music, so I had that. What's Up by A$AP Rocky, one of my favorite mixtape songs of all time. One of the best off of Live Love A$AP, and then The Ride by Drake.
The only thing I was going to say is that I didn't bring in any mixtape like contenders whatsoever because it is best like song. Mind you, it could be mixtape. Yeah, it's not an album.
Of course it is.
Of course it could be.
I had to go through the mixtape
for a second.
It's the early 2010s.
So I fucking ignored a lot of mixtape shit,
You
bro.
have to go through the mixtape material.
Yeah, okay, so some answers might change as we go through it. But from my honorable mentions, I took in Evidence's song, The Red Carpet, which features Raekwon and Razzcast.
Wow, I haven't heard that in a long time.
Love the looped vocals from Alchemist, one of his best beats in my opinion. I also, Lord Knows by Drake featuring Rick Ross. Going back to Take Care, what, the whole like...
No, yeah, like
fuck the ink and yeah.
I have the right over it.
That's
though.
one
but
line.
Lord Knows is legendary.
I love Lord Knows. Going back to the album, like this might be the best song. And then there's a bunch of songs from like Section 80 as well as Undone that I was considering, but ultimately, my song of the year is going to be Die Like a Rockstar by Danny Brown.
Okay, mine is going to be Otis by Jay-Z and Kanye West off of Watch the Throne. So I think it's one of the most iconic sample flips of all time within the hip-hop genre. It's a decade-defining song. I mean, when you go back to Watch the Throne and the link up, I think this is the best song alongside A New Day, which I was considering. And I think from a technicality standpoint, you get Jay-Z and Kanye West in primetime mode. Like, they're in their zone, they're going off of it, and the rapping performances are flawless. There's not a single mishap in the flows, in the writing, in the way that they're constructing their bars. And as I said, when you have to think about a type of production, this for me is top of the ladder for the 2010s decade. So it's iconic. It marks off all the bars for me. I've been bumping it since 2011, since I've been a kid. And when I had to go back and really put my cue together, this is what I came out with.
So 2 Kanye songs in a row. I see where this is going. Okay.
But this is my only, these are the only Kanye songs I have
That's
left.
all you have?
This is all I have.
Fair enough. Fair
but
enough.
if you really do think about it, the 2010 and 2011 Kanye was dominant.
It was.
over everyone.
It was a huge time for his peak.
You know?
Absolutely. But yeah, I went with Die Like a Rockstar by Danny Brown off of the XXX album. And I absolutely love just the dark tone that's set up from the instrumental. And when it comes to this song, it's Danny Brown giving you a bunch of off-of-the-wall type of rhyming shit like tamale, tell my mommy, like a bunch of clever little one-liners throughout it. And I just love the fact that he's so open and so earnest about like sort of predicting that he's going to go out the same way that like the stereotypical rock star goes out, like dying young after substance abuse and whatever else. So cool message, and he really commits to just sounding very defeated and sounding like his mind is spiraling out of control through his cadence, as well as through the sinister beat that he chose that really convinces you of that message. So one of the most unique and unconventional songs of 2011, but still one of the best in my opinion. But let's go on to 2012, and this is going to be interesting because now I have Survival Tactics as a big contender.
Yeah, Survival
I didn't think about it before because, like I said, I didn't have mixtapes on the mind, but that's going to be in there. Apart from that, Dreams and Nightmares by Meek Mill. One of the best rapping performances of the decade for me.
I have honorable mentions, but I just want to say this: like nothing really compares to
The Book of Soul by Ab-Soul is another one, bro, that you can't sleep on.
I was also considering Illuminate. That was another song that I was considering.
Over the Book of Soul?
Yeah, Illuminate's incredible.
Not over
the rapping, the rapping performances are absolutely incredible. I was looking at a rhyme scheme breakdown of that song for this episode, and I was like, wow, it really is that meticulously crafted. But I think it comes as no surprise. Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst as my favorite of that year. What do you got? What I think is the best?
What do you think I went with?
Well, no kidding. Do we even have to have a conversation?
We don't even have to talk about Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst. Guys, you can watch like 20 other videos on this channel of us breaking down the song. And yeah, timeless themes, amazing storytelling. We've been over it, bro.
One of the best storytelling songs of the entire genre. What else do you want? You know, like there's really
Perfection.
nothing. Yeah, there's literally nothing to speak about with it. But okay, 2013 was a tough one for me. All right, I'm gonna go through some honorable mentions for myself. I have A Tale of Two Cities by J. Cole. I have Vibe by Mick Jenkins.
2013? You mean 2014 for A Tale of Two Cities?
Oh, sorry,
right?
I was reading the 2014 section.
Okay, I
always
see.
do that with my notes in these episodes. I'll see the way. Because I have it like right over here. So 2013, I have Nostalgia. I have Objects in the Mirror by Mac Miller. I have Acid Rain by Chance the Rapper. Colossus by Tyler the Creator. Chum by Earl Sweatshirt as well. But ultimately, I went with Tuscan Leather by Drake as my what I think is the best song.
So my honorable mentions: Numbers on the Boards and Nostalgia by Pusha T, of course. Crawl by Childish Gambino, of course. The iconic One Train Posse cut from A$AP Rocky.
That's a big one as well.
And Control by Big Sean. But 2 for 2. Song of the Year, Tuscan Leather by Drizzy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, listen, bro. It's a 6-minute song from Drake where he's going on this hookless song and just venting about where he's at in his life, bringing the utmost confidence. And I think that when it comes to production, where else are you going to find a progressive beat like this from 2013 where you have this Whitney Houston, vocal sample flipped 3 different ways? To me, Drake doesn't always get that much love for his beats and his production for whatever stupid fucking reason, but this is one of those ones that you can't deny. And I love the fact that because of all the transitions from beat to beat, it sounds like 3 different songs packed into one. And this is always my go-to Drake song when I want to get hyped up, when I want to sort of view Drake as the best that he could be. Like, this is always what I place as the placeholder. Like,
yeah, this is a standard of quality.
That's the standard.
That's a standard of quality. And it's interesting because the context behind this song is very interesting. I mean, you want to talk about where he was at within his career and how he wanted to sort of change the game and have people look at him as more of a rapper rather than just being like this pop singer that ends up coming through, right? So, I mean, ultimately, I went with Tuscan Leather as well. Like you said, the Whitney Houston sample flip is incredible. I think it's one of the best productions of the 2010s as well.
Yeah.
The best song off of the best album of this year as well. So I guess that stands for something. So 2013, Tuscan Leather. But 2014, this was very interesting, all right? So here, I had A Tale of Two Cities. I had Vibe by Mick Jenkins. I had Modest by Isaiah Rashad. I had Blind Threats by Schoolboy Q. That was something else I was considering. But ultimately, I went with Seen It All by Jeezy featuring Jay-Z. There
Good answer. I was considering Seen It All. That was in my honorable mentions for sure. Also, Love Yours by J. Cole, an absolute tearjerker of a song and one of the most powerful messages.
Tearjerker, I like that word.
Tearjerker. You never heard that before?
I never heard the tearjerker.
Okay.
Fine.
What else do I have? I have Vibe by Mick Jenkins. I had Diablo by Mac Miller.
Oh, you went with Vibe too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Heavenly Father by Isaiah Rashad. Lifestyle by Rich Gang as well. But ultimately, I had to go with Shitsville by Freddie Gibbs
nice.
and Madlib.
Yes. I was going through Pina. I was considering Thuggin' as well in this conversation. All right, so let's talk about it. I mean, this is one of the best years for like coke rap, in my opinion. You have so many fantastic projects coming out, even in the gangster rap lane. But I went with Seen It All. One of the best motivational songs of the 2010s decade, and Jeezy and Jay-Z are just playing on like demon time. You know, it's different completely. You can't fuck with them.
Yeah.
It's over. You know, as soon as they were locked in, it was gonna go through, and especially Jay-Z on the last verse, with the whole storytelling thing about how his plug got shot, and then they went back to see him, and they were traveling back and forth, and just like the whole Reasonable Doubt sort of conversation in one verse just feels very calculated for me. And then the Cardo production is incredible. One of the best beats I've ever heard in my life, bro.
Yeah, just that song has a duality of just being a fucking slapper that you could play anywhere, but also having some crazy verses. I mean, the pen game is outstanding by Jay-Z. Maybe his best feature ever. Like, it's up there, bro.
It is up there, absolutely.
It's really...
And apparently he actually cried after he finished the verse. That was something that I heard Jeezy say in an interview. I don't know if that's true or not, but whatever.
Or maybe Jeezy cried after hearing Hove give him that verse.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that this song has actually inspired me and like the way that I've carried myself and, business. It's on a different type of time, and, for that mogul talk and being into like the business lane, it's incredible. It really is an incredible track. I went with that for 20.
We have a lot of luxury songs in our list, is what I'm noticing. That's sort of what made up a lot of the best music of the 2010s
not only that,
rap.
but well, if you look at the production and writing side of things, usually like those luxury songs have something to say, right? And they stick together. So
absolutely. So I went with Shitsville just because I've never heard a beat like this before Shitsville, and I maybe will never hear another beat like it afterwards. And because you have Madlib looping these violins and just increasing the speed on those suckers, bro. And it sounds fucking insane. Then you have Freddie Gibbs coming in, and it sounds like he's tweaking, bro. It sounds like he's about to dislocate his jaw for how fucking quick he's spitting. And when he maintains a flow and really locks into
he's a pit bull.
It's unbreakable, like I always say about him. And he succeeds at maintaining that flow for the longest time on this track. And I just loved the nuanced story that he's telling about, like, hiding his past job of being a drug dealer from his mother and sort of not wanting to be antagonized by people around him. The whole idea of the song is like, you motherfuckers just like me. You guys bleed the same color. You guys sin just as I do. And just one of the best rapping performances and unique productions that I've heard ever in my life as a hip-hop listener. I still go back to it to this day. And I do put it over a Thuggin' or the self-titled Pinata or other highlights off of that album. But yeah, Seen It All is great, as well as Love Yours and so many other songs from 2014. So it was one of the most competitive years.
This was one of the hardest years for me to decide on. But let's go into 2015. My honorable mentions, I have 90210 by Travis Scott. I have Mama by Kendrick Lamar. I have No Tellin' by Drake. March Madness by Future. Canal Street by A$AP Rocky. But ultimately, I went with Mural by Lupe Fiasco.
I knew you were going to choose Mural. Mural is a contender for me, without a doubt.
All right, let's go through your...
I have 90210 by Travis Scott as well, one of the best multifaceted hip-hop songs of all time. March Madness, thought it was a drought. Amazing year for trap music in 2015.
Yeah.
Also Paper Trails by Joey Badass. But ultimately, Wesley's Theory by Kendrick Lamar. And that was really the big debate for me, is like, which song from To Pimp a Butterfly do I got to bring in here? And I think the reason why I didn't choose Mural is that as amazing and excellent it is as like a lyrical showcase, does it really play on all levels of production, of story, of hook? Like, I feel like Wesley's Theory covers all those grounds.
It's an 8-minute song.
I know.
Of Lupe Fiasco.
Like I said, as a lyrical showcase, it's excellent. But I think in other areas, something like a Wesley's Theory or something like an All Right by Kendrick does surpass it to me.
The production is phenomenal as well. The sample flip is super iconic. It's incredible by Quality Kid Keys and Wiz Butchanan. I mean, I don't see what the flaw is with this song. I mean, we even considered it.
I didn't say there's flaws. I just think there's better songs that year. That's all.
I think from a technical standpoint, you're not finding a better song. I think when you have to look at a song concept, it's one of the best song concepts of all time within the genre. It's arguably Lupe's best ever song as well. And I think that even like his rapping performances, and even to be able to keep up the concentration level of being able to deliver lyrics like that at such a high pace for such a long like format and for such a long song, I've never seen that in my life. I've never seen a performance like this from Lupe Fiasco in my life. It's a lock for me for 2015. It was actually easy. As soon as I saw the song, I'm like, it's going there. It's absolutely
so
going
Wesley's Theory is the song that sets the tone for arguably the best rap album of all time to a lot of people, and I absolutely love this song because it's the funkiest song on the entire album. You have this earth-shattering bass line from Thundercat, who absolutely rips the production. Then you mix in these moping synthesizers that are sort of just howling over the song, and then you have Kendrick, who brilliantly exposes us to all the different themes and motifs that he's going to later on explore into the album.
The genius song concept, for
just
sure.
About like the executives in the music industry exploiting African Americans and their art, and the way that he, switches perspectives, rapping from that perspective of a rapper who wants to make money, then going into the Uncle Sam perspective. It's genius in the way that he really handled that song and presented it for us. The sample choice is brilliant as well.
Even the Lucifer
Dr.
perspective.
Dre phone call and like what that does to you about like, it's easy to get it, but try maintaining it. So much game being kicked in one song. Important message. And I think that as an overall package, obviously it's not as amazing lyrically, but as an overall package, I think it is one of, if not the best song of 2015.
That's fair. I still think Miro is more impressive, but let's go on to 2016. Big year as well, but I knew where I was going with this one. I do, and maybe this is going to become to a surprise to you, but honorable mentions, I have No More Parties in LA by Kanye West featuring Kendrick. Maybe this would be song of the year for a lot of different people watching this. I had Dang by Mac Miller. That was something else that I was considering as well. Zenith, that was another one off of Imperial. That was something I was considering featuring Joey Badass. 50-inch Zenith by Westside Gun featuring Sky Zoo. That was something else I was considering. The Cow by Westside Gun featuring Conway the Machine, an all-time verse by Conway. But ultimately, I went with Groovy Tony, Eddie Kane by Schoolboy Q.
Nice. I had Groovy Tony, Eddie Kane in consideration. I had The Cow. I had We the People by a Tribe Called Quest.
That's a massive one, too.
No More Parties in LA, St. Pablo. But ultimately, For Your Eyez Only by J. Cole, to me, is the best song of 2016. And it's funny because I feel like both of us are like gearing our lists towards like these epic lyrical showcases. Like, why couldn't Wyclef Jean or like Lamborghini High been the best song of 2016?
That's just what speaks to me as a hip hop.
That's what I'm saying. So okay, I feel like that's where it's like, because I feel like we're both, making these lists based around what's the most impressive to us, and we look for certain things. I feel like is what it comes down to.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Lyricism plays a big role, but take me through Groovy Tony, Eddie Kane. We've spoken about the song a lot, but just amazing plot twist.
Like for a plot twist, I do think that maybe, like you said, for maybe my last selection, For Your Eyez Only is better technically. The way that J. Cole leads you in, and then towards the end of the verse, and it's an all-time favorite song for me. But for Groovy Tony, Eddie Kane, bro, the production is just so out of here. It doesn't even make sense. Dem Joints and Tay Beast did a fantastic job just through taking you through all these types of different sections within the production that kind of feels like a psychedelic rock trip. You're really in the production and you're immersed, and it feels grimy but yet epic. And then the way that Schoolboy Q changes his cadences from section to section is absolutely brilliant. One of the best showcases of cadence and flow that I have seen from the 2010s decade. And just the whole concept of like when Schoolboy Q is going throughout the song, there's the duality of Eddie Kane and Groovy Tony, and the way that he's able to contrast that as a song concept and the different perspective switches, for me, is one of the best displays of concept for a song in 2016. And the iconic Jada Kiss feature, there's so much that has gone into this song that I was like, well, it kind of does knock every point off, and I love For Your Eyez Only. You guys know how I feel about the song. It's just that this is really up there and one of my favorite hip hop songs of all time.
I think For Your Eyez Only is a better song. You have 10 minutes of J. Cole giving you maybe the most purposeful rhymes and raps of his life, because every single word that he throws into these 4 verses are him portraying the character of someone that is fighting for his life, bro, and fighting for a better future for his daughter and his family. I love the production too. You have this beautiful, sorrowful composition where you have these trumpets, these boom bap snares, melancholic strings, and it feels like a true swan song. It feels like an outro, and I love the fact that it has this conversational approach where he's literally speaking directly to his daughter. Yeah, it was geniusly executed, and apart from that, in terms of like vocal showcases, J. Cole singing heavenly on the hook and then rapping his heart out on all those verses. So to me, it's the complete package, and it perfectly summed up that album as a whole. Such a rewarding track for J. Cole fans.
It is.
But let's go on to 2017, and there's a lot of shit to choose from. There's all of them, such as Feel, Duckworth, Fear, that I was debating. Nothing made it for me. Rap Save Me and What the Price for trap songs were in contention, but ultimately it's going to be 444, the title track off of that album from Jay-Z. Fear.
Okay, yeah. So I obviously have Fear.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a debate. Marcy Me from 444 was making a big push for me as far as this conversation goes. November by Tyler, the Creator, my favorite Tyler song of all time. That was making it a conversation for me. Power by Rhapsody featuring Kendrick Lamar and Co. That was another song that I had into conversation, but ultimately I went for Fear, and
Yeah.
no one's done what Kendrick's done on this song in this year. There's no way. The Uncle Al sample, it's not even a competition for me. I don't even have to.
The No ID sample on 444 is
not better.
Absolutely genius.
No, it's not better.
Okay, you want me to tell you why I think it's the best song of the year?
I mean, yeah, I guess, but I don't know how you put it over a Fear. It's
Because I think it's a better song. That's why.
from a writing standpoint, it's not better. From a
writing standpoint, from a production standpoint, absolutely.
No, it's not. Absolutely. Okay, explain why. Go
All
for
right,
it.
absolutely. So this is a song where Jay-Z, Sean Carter, the billionaire and legendary rapper, decides to humble himself and create a song that no one expected him to ever make, and a song that he didn't have to make, where he's actually apologizing to his wife for his infidelities. And again, this is a perspective from Jay-Z and a level of maturity that he had never reached prior to this in his life. And to me, just the humility to sort of take off the mask, take off and sort of get naked in the sense of really exposing himself and being as honest and earnest as he possibly could be.
That's gonna be a
I mean,
clip.
this is the same guy that made the song 22 Twos, who's coming, who had this reputation of being this big badass and making a song as personal and vulnerable as this. This was groundbreaking for hip hop, in my opinion. And going to the sample, I do think the Keenan Kenny sample is absolutely amazing because it plays into the theme of the song with like, I'm never gonna treat you like I should, like plays into the message of the song. Then you have Jay-Z with this cadence of a broken man who sounds like he's on his knees, desperate for forgiveness. And it's just a reminder that as humans, we're all capable of fucking up, even someone like a Jay-Z. And the bars are beautiful. Shit like, if they don't look at me the same, I would probably die with all the shame. Talking about how like this is going to affect his children from a poetry standpoint, everything included. It's the best song of the year for me.
I disagree with you completely. I think when you look at Kendrick Lamar and what he did on Fear with those 3 verses, it's generational. It's the best song in his catalog. Not only that, but if you want to talk about deep messaging, think about the way
That's
that
not the best song in his catalog, by the way. Sing About Me is much better.
Listen, it's my favorite. I think you could consider it amongst his best. A top 5 Kendrick Lamar song, no debate. When you go on to Fear, think about how many people live with fear in their lives and how many people are crippled by it and how many people feel like they can't come out of the fear sentiment.
You've gone through this.
No, like you talked about 444. I'm going to break it down for you.
For the 15th time? Like this is the first time I talk about 444.
No. Just because you explained the whole thing of like Jay-Z maturing, and I think that it's a fantastic track. You're right. I think it's one of the best of the year, but still lyrically, it does not compare to Fear.
Sure,
taking the perspective of his mother for the first verse, talking to him at 7 years old, then going on to 17 years old for the second one, then 27 for the third one. Incredible. Talking about the Uncle Lao sample flip, incredible on that part as well. And you're right. I won't go through another deep explanation for this because I've explained why I like it so much. But this song is universal. It has helped millions of people get through their fears and allowed them to be able to advance in their life. It's better written than 444, and the production is much better. But let's go on to 2018. My honorable mentions: Out of Sight, Out of Mind by J-Rock. That was something I was considering. Santeria by Pusha T. That was another consideration for me. Stop Trying to Be God by Travis Scott. I was really looking at that one as well. Prom King from Sabbath. That was something I was considering. Black Balloon by Denzel Curry, 97 Hove by Benny the Butcher, but ultimately I went with Jet Fuel by Mac Miller as my favorite and the best.
I don't think it's the best of the year, but Santeria by Pusha T is one that I think is better than Jet Fuel. Mona Lisa by Lil Wayne and Kendrick is better in my opinion. Sirens by Denzel. Small Worlds by Mac Miller, another song that I think is better. Blue Laces 2 by Nipsey Hussle, but ultimately Stop Trying to Be God by Travis Scott. And I think it's the least rapidy rap song that I have on my entire list, but when I think of sonic perfection, this is the song that I go to. And I love the fact that, like, when you look at this beat, bro, and the foundation of it, it's a simple trap beat at its core, but it's all those added elements that Travis has the ear to bring in that make it everything that it is, from that harmonica from Stevie Wonder, from the hums by Kid Cudi. I think that even Travis Scott sort of calling out narcissists and calling out people that have that God complex, such a rare moment for him, such a shining moment in his catalog for him to be humble and rap about a positive message of just taking care of your people. And yeah, I think that's why Travis has always been the most groundbreaking artist to me, is that he can take a simple trap beat and expand upon it and make it this grandiose, ethereal experience for the audience. And that's what he accomplishes on Stop Trying to Be God. So to me, from a production standpoint and performance standpoint, this is firing on every single cylinder, all the way to the James Blake outro. And yeah, this is one where I really had to put aside like the bars, you know what I mean? Just to choose
I went with Jet Fuel because I had a lot of competition this year, and ultimately what I wanted to do for 2018 is that I tried to look for the outliers, like the most unique perspectives and what I was really getting as far as value goes. And Jet Fuel is the darkest moment on Swimming, which is, in my opinion, the best album of 2018, at least one of them. I mean, it's up for consideration. But as far as Jet Fuel goes, Mac Miller is taking you through literally the downfalls of his substance abuse and telling you that his head is barely floating over water, and just kind of comparing him to, like, well, drugs for me is like jet fuel to a plane, and the whole analogy for that kind of sums up Mac Miller's career to a certain extent and the way that he's carried himself and always talking about his substance abuse. So I think from a vulnerability standpoint, the writing is the best of that year. Not only that, but I think the DJ Dahi and Steve Lacy production alongside Mac Miller is absolutely fantastic. The way that it leads you into the rest of the song is incredible, and it's given so much hope for people because Mac Miller was at such a big point in his career, and people were looking at his career saying, well, you know, it's getting dangerous now, and his fans were concerned for him, and people were concerned, and ultimately people know what it led up to. So with that sort of context, understanding this sort of song, the vulnerability for it, and the ability to sort of like showcase all of the emotion of the album in one song for me means the world to me. So I think it's the best showcase of emotion from the decade, at least one of them. So I went with Jet Fuel.
Okay. Yeah, but 2018 was tough, bro. That's literally like my favorite year of this whole decade. But let's go on to 2019. Some honorable mentions for me. Great year for UK rap, by the way. Selfish by Little Sims. Leslie by Dave was in consideration for me. New Magic Wand by Tyler, which is a rap song. Nina by Rhapsody. Massive honorable mention. She did an amazing flip of the Strange Fruit sample. And some of the best bars and track presence of any record of 2019. But ultimately, my song of the year has to be Crown for Kings by Benny the Butcher.
Oh, that's nice. That's interesting. I Crown for Kings as far as an honorable mention goes. I also had Sojourner from Rhapsody. That was something else I was considering. Lost and Found by Corday. That was a cool song. I really enjoyed it, so I just wanted to shout it out. Leslie by Dave. That's an incredible concept song. I really wanted to bring that in. But I went with Fake Names by Freddie Gibbs off of Bandana. So it's so cool because Bandana has this sort of dark mystique to it, and Fake Names is sort of the pinnacle of that, in my opinion, where Freddie Gibbs is talking about how he literally has to use fake names or else he's getting clipped and that he'll never be able to recover from it. And just the rhyme schemes and the ability to switch at a dime. If you go through that first verse of Fake Names and you look at the way that he starts off the verse and the way that he ends it, you would think it's a completely different rap performance. But I feel like that's what Freddie Gibbs is so good at, is those seamless transitions. So I feel like as far as flow goes and a lyrical exercise goes, this is the best song of the year from Freddie Gibbs.
Okay.
And when it comes down to it, the whole like Mad Lib production is so unconventional because you start off with like this eerie sort of spacey production, and then it gets brighter as the production goes, and then boom, it falls back flat towards the end of the song. So even from a production standpoint, I think it's an all-time great beat from Madlib. I had to include it. I think it's 2019 Song of the Year.
When it comes to the best rapping performance of 2019, to me, it's easily Black Thought on Brown Crown for Kings. And when I'm looking at delivery, wordplay, eloquence in the writing, and the way that just Benny the Butcher and, Black Thought slice through this DJ Shay sample flip, it's absolutely masterful to me. And like there was this whole trend going on about like, show me a rapper that's rapping like the rent is due. This is the example. This is the epitome of that sort of whole ideology. And it sounds like they're rapping for survival. And what I love about the most about this song is that when I listen to it, it's a 2019 song that sounds like it was made in 1999 because it's littered with all these hip hop references and these jazzy trumpets and these meaningful rhymes. And it feels like you're going on a coke field trip with Benny as he's driving through the border and has to make a coke run. And then Black Thought, one of the best features of all time in my opinion. And ultimately, in terms of strength as wordsmiths, this is the best collab. And like I said, Black Thought having the best rap performance of the year for me.
All right, let's go on to 2020, which is going to be wrapping up this episode. Honorable mentions, GP4 by Logic. That was something I was considering as well. God is Perfect by Freddie Gibbs, another consideration for me. Famous by Benny the Butcher. That's an incredible song. Lemon by Conway the Machine featuring Method Man. That was something I was considering, but ultimately I went with 327 by West Side Gun as what I think is the best song of the year.
Walking in the Snow by Run the Jewels was a contender for me. Trade It All by Benny the Butcher. Detroit River Rock by Boldy James.
That was something else I was considering.
Antisocial by Shay Noir and Apollo Brown. Also different joints in Alfredo like God is Perfect, like you mentioned, or 1985 Scotty Beam. There's so fucking many there, but ultimately, it's going to be $500 Ounces by West Side Gun
nice. Okay.
on Pray for Paris. To Griselda. Back-to-back years for me on my list.
I feel like this run from Griselda is so iconic and it's so strong. And because I was considering 500 Ounces. I just think that you maybe get a bit more out of 327, especially with all the features that you get, how iconic it feels, the way that the song has aged. I prefer
just as many features, though, on $500.
You have
Freddie,
Rock
Marciano, you have Freddie, and West Side Gun.
And West Side Gun, yeah. But here you have Billy Esco, you have Tyler, and you have Joey Badass. Okay.
So one more feature, true.
Well, one more feature out of it. I think that seeing Tyler and Joey Badass come together for a Griselda moment like this was massive for the community. We had just started podcasting, and I don't think the review's up on audio podcasts anymore. We cleared all of our old catalog, but this was one of my favorite albums to review just because it felt like an underground classic from West Side Gun, and I feel like this is the best song on that album. I think as far as pure hip-hop goes, this is a moment for the 2020s, just like being able to start off the decade on such a strong note. The production is absolutely incredible by Camouflage Monk. It sounds so lush. It sounds jazzy. It feels luxurious, like you're in a Rolls Royce rolling through. And you get a fantastic feature from Joey. You get a fantastic feature from Tyler. You get an incredible verse from West Side Gun. It's just all around as a song. It plays on every single field. So I went with this one.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the best off the album, but I think $500 Ounces is probably the best song, and I love the production from Uncle Al, who brings in these horns and just loops them all throughout it. And I think that when I'm looking at gangster rap, luxury rap, and drumless hip-hop beats, and top three, like very high-level caliber verses from all three of these guys, this just shows the best sides of all of those sides of hip-hop. Like I said, the gangster rap and whatever else. Freddie Gibbs comes in and sounds so animated. He's even doing like the fucking cocaine sniffs at one point in the song, and then even gets deep and personal about like, throwing out lines that a lot of people could relate to in 2020, where it's like, I don't know if I could ever watch the Lakers again without shedding a tear, talking about the loss of Kobe, talking about, cooking drugs, shit like that. And then you have everyone just really giving their best effort. And again, for them to keep you this engaged without drums, it's not easy, but they accomplished it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best songs of the year. So listen, guys, that's going to wrap up our list. Let us know in the comment sections. How do you feel about it? Then drop your favorite song of the decade in the comment sections. I want to see your answers. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you are new to NFR Podcast, smash that subscribe button. I hope you guys enjoyed this recording, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.